All right, so picture this. It's 2012, and Tesla is the coolest kid on the block. Electric cars are basically science fiction for most people, and then here comes Elon Musk, rolling out the Model S and making everyone suddenly want an EV. Fast forward a few years and it felt like Tesla was everywhere on the news, in movies, even in rap lyrics. People were lining up for cars they hadn't even seen in person. It was wild. Tesla was the future, and honestly, it was hard not to buy into the hype. But here's where it gets interesting. You know that feeling when you're watching a movie, and the hero is on top of the world, but you just know there's a twist coming? That's kind of what's happening with Tesla right now. For years, they were the gold standard. If you said electric car, people thought Tesla. But lately, it's like the magic is fading. Sales are down, competitors are catching up, and a lot of people are asking, what happened? Did Tesla drop the ball? Or was there something going on behind the scenes that we just didn't see? So, let's dig into this. Because honestly, the story is kind of wild. It's not just about cars or tech. It's about hype, promises, and what happens when you're so far ahead that you forget to keep running. And hey, if you're into these kinds of deep dives, where we peel back the layers and look at what's really going on with the brands we all know, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I've got a bunch more stories like this coming up, and I'd love for you to stick around. All right, so here's the deal. For a long time, Tesla was basically untouchable. They had the best range, the fastest cars, the coolest tech. Even if you weren't a car person, you probably knew someone who was obsessed with Teslas. And the company was always talking about the next big thing, self-driving cars. Affordable EVs for everyone. Even robo-taxis that would drive you around while you sat back and watched Netflix. It was like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory for grown-ups who love gadgets. But here's the thing. While all that was happening in public, there were some issues bubbling under the surface. And now, those issues are catching up to them like big time. Let's start with innovation. Remember when the Model S came out? It was a game changer. Nothing else even came close. But since then, how many truly new Teslas have we seen? The Model 3, the Model Y. And then, well, not much. The Cybertruck finally made it out. But it's kind of a mess-like. It looks cool in a Mad Max kind of way. But it's not exactly flying off the shelves. Meanwhile, other car companies, Ford, Hyundai, even freaking Kia are dropping new EVs left and right. Some of them look cooler, some have better range, and a lot of them are just nicer inside. Like you get in a new Hyundai Ioniq 5 and it feels like the future. You get in a Model 3 and it's like, oh, this again. The thing is, Tesla kind of stopped pushing the envelope. For a while they were so far ahead that they could coast, but the competition didn't stop. They doubled down, they invested in new tech, better batteries, more comfortable interiors. And now Tesla's cars are starting to feel a little stale. It's like when your favorite band keeps playing the same hits from 10 years ago. At some point, you want something new. Now let's talk about the whole self-driving thing. This is a big one, because Tesla's been promising full self-driving for years. Elon Musk would go on Twitter and say stuff like, by next year, you'll be able to sleep in your car while it drives you to work. And people believed it. I mean, who wouldn't want that? But here's the reality. We're in 2025, and Teslas still can't drive themselves. Not really. They can help you on the highway, sure, but you still have to pay attention. And there have been some scary accidents where the car thought it saw something that wasn't there, or didn't see something that was. What makes it worse is that behind the scenes, Tesla's own engineers were saying, yeah, we're not close to real self-driving. But in public, the company kept hyping it up. That's a problem not just because it's misleading, but because it sets people up for disappointment. And now, regulators are starting to crack down. There are lawsuits, investigations, all kinds of headaches. It's like when a magician finally gets caught with a rabbit up his sleeve. The trick doesn't work anymore. And get this. While everyone else in the industry was adding more sensors, radar, LiDAR, all that stuff, Tesla decided to go the other way. They took out the radar and said, we're just going to use cameras, that's enough. But pretty much every other car company, and a lot of experts said, Uh, are you sure about that? Because more sensors mean more ways for the car to understand what's happening around it. It is like trying to play a video game with your eyes closed and just listening for sounds. You might get by for a while, but eventually, you're going to run into something. Now, here's where it gets even messier. For a long time, the Tesla brand was almost bulletproof. People loved Elon Musk. He was the cool billionaire who smoked weed on podcasts and sent rockets into space. But lately, he's been, well, let's just say he's been a little more controversial. He's gotten into politics, picked fights on social media, and said some things that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And for a company that built its reputation on being the cool, green, forward-thinking choice, that's a problem. A lot of Tesla's early fans were people who cared about the environment, who wanted to be part of something positive. But now some of those folks are saying, you know what? I don't really want to support this guy anymore. And they're looking at other brands that are making cool electric cars without all the drama. So what does all this add up to? Well, here's the bottom line. Tesla's sales are down, like really down. The first few months of 2025, they sold 13% fewer cars than the year before. That might not sound like a lot, but in the car world, that's a big deal. Especially when everyone else is going up. And it's not just a blip. If this keeps happening, Tesla could lose its spot as the top dog in electric cars. Meanwhile, the competition is fierce. Chinese companies like BYD are making EVs that are cheaper, have great range, and are actually kind of fun to drive. Ford's got the F-150 Lightning, which is basically the electric truck everyone in America actually wants. Even GM is getting its act together. The gap that Tesla used to have, it's gone. And because Tesla waited so long to really shake things up, it's a lot harder for them to catch up now. It's kind of like if you're running a marathon and you get a huge lead early on. You start to jog, maybe even walk for a bit, thinking you've got it in the bag. But then you look over your shoulder, and suddenly the pack is right behind you and they're sprinting. And let's not forget about the brand. Tesla used to be the Apple of cars. People lined up for hours just to test drive one. But now, with all the drama and broken promises, it's starting to feel more like, well, maybe not BlackBerry, but you get the idea. The shine is wearing off. Here's another thing. People talk. Word gets around. If your friend buys a new car and it's got a bunch of problems, or the company doesn't follow through on what they promised, you're probably not going to buy one yourself. That's what's happening with Tesla. A lot of the early adopters are moving on, and the new buyers aren't as excited as they used to be. So what did Tesla actually hide? It's not like they were covering up some big scandal, but they definitely downplayed some important stuff. They didn't invest enough in new models or better tech. They overhyped self-driving, knowing it wasn't ready. They made some questionable choices with sensors, and they took their brand for granted, thinking people would stick around no matter what. Now, all those chickens are coming home to roost. The cars aren't as fresh, the tech isn't as far ahead, and the brand isn't as cool. And because they waited so long to fix these things, it might actually be too late to turn it around. I know, it sounds dramatic, but that's kind of the point. Tesla changed the world. They made electric cars cool. But just because you start the race in first place doesn't mean you finish there. You've got to keep moving, keep innovating, keep your fans excited. Otherwise, someone else is going to take your spot. And look, I'm not saying Tesla is done for. They still make good cars, they still have a huge fan base. But the days of them being untouchable, those might be over. Now they're just another car company trying to keep up, and that's a big shift. So what's the takeaway here? I think it's this. Hype can only get you so far. At some point, you've got to deliver. People want new stuff, better stuff, honest stuff. If you promise the moon and only deliver a flashlight, eventually people are going to notice. And for Tesla, the clock is ticking. The competition is here, the customers are watching, and the next big thing could come from anywhere. Maybe it'll be Tesla again. Maybe it'll be someone else. But one thing's for sure. The future of cars is going to be wild, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out. If you made it this far, thanks for hanging out with me. Seriously, I love digging into stories like this. And if you do too, don't forget to subscribe. I've got a ton more coming, from tech to business to all the weird stuff in between. See you in the next one.